Welcome, welcome to Fearless with Jason Whitlock. I am Jason Whitlock, your host. Happy Friday. Thank you so much for joining me. We have an important show planned for you today. We're going to cover a lot of important stuff in the first hour, 90 minutes. Might take me 2 hours. Then we'll cover some sports stuff with Steve Kim on the back end of the show. But I do want you to buckle up. This will be the most important show we've done on this Karmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf situation. There's a lot of confusion about this situation. Yesterday, Dominique Alexander, the Al Sharpton character of Texas, had a press conference for Karmelo Anthony's family. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. The craziest thing I've ever seen broadcast. Watching Dominique Alexander nail himself to a cross, watching Karmelo Anthony's mother nail herself to a cross and Karmelo to a cross. The craziest thing I've ever seen. I'm going to try to walk you through it unemotionally. This entire situation and the way it's being played out in the social media matrix. One of the biggest psyops and most obvious psyops I've ever seen. I'm going to give you a full explanation about what's going on here and how it's all connected. Everybody's working together. Apparently on the right, apparently on the left, black, white, they're all working together to create chaos and to free Karmelo Anthony. I'm going to explain it to you. Call your friends, let people know, hit the subscribe, hit the likes. You don't want to miss what I'm going to unpack in about 58 minutes or so. I'm going to bring on Jake Lang, a January 6th survivor, someone we've had on the show before, someone that I am in support of and admiration of what he survived as it relates to 3-4 years of incarceration over the January 6th hoax. You've seen Jake on this show. He'll be back on. He's leading this protest march that, what are they calling it again? Protect White Americans, justice for Austin Metcalf, demand Karmelo Anthony be put back in prison until trial. He's leading this protest. I think he's making a grave mistake. We'll talk about it in about 57 minutes. I'll have Jake on. We'll have the discussion. He's leading a protest at a high school in Frisco, Texas. We'll get into it. This will be a spicy show, but it will also be informative and will hopefully take the scales off your eyes so you can see what is actually going on here. I want to thank our great friends at Relief Factor for jumping on board and making it possible for me to have this honest of a show. Relief Factor is also responsible for me being able to work out every day, and a part of my health recovery and just health improvement. It's removing the inflammation and pain that I normally would be suffering from working out and all that. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally developed by doctors. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate it. In fact, the longer you take it, the more effective it is. Try Relief Factor's 3-week quick start, just $20, $19.95. Visit relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Let's get into this. Let's begin with just, I'm going to help you understand what we saw in the press conference from the the Next Generation Action Network and this criminal clown that runs that organization out of Texas. And when I say criminal clown, the guy's been convicted of several crimes starting in about 2009. He's invented or reinvented himself as some sort of black activist. And that's the first sign that, hey, there's a problem here. a career criminal is the face of, hey, I'm fighting for justice for Karmelo Anthony and his family. Karmelo Anthony stabbed and killed someone. But they're fighting for justice for Karmelo Anthony. He stabbed and killed someone. Who would take on that job? That's, hey, we got to get justice for the guy that stabbed and killed a 17-year-old. Who would do that? And why? Who would finance this person? Who would lend this person credibility? What family would say, hey, my son stabbed and killed someone, allegedly in self-defense, but at the end of the day, he stabbed and killed someone. And you know what? I'm going to hire a career criminal who's recast himself as an activist who has virtually no command of the English language. And I'm going to make him the spokesperson for my family as we fight for justice. Career criminal, no command of the English language, a poor representation of anybody, any family. Who would put, hey, I'm going to make this the face of our family and the spokesman of our family, and as my 17-year-old son fights first-degree murder charges, I got an ex-con with no command of the English language, no real common sense. I'm going to make him the face of our fight for justice. And people are going to take this seriously. And so this press conference that went 30 minutes yesterday started out with Dominique Alexander, the career criminal, the baby Al Sharpton of Texas, attacking Austin Metcalf's father, who came to the press conference. He wanted to hear what Karmelo Anthony and his family and their spokesman had to say, and they booted Austin Metcalf's dad out of the press conference. And then Dominique Alexander, the man with virtually no command of the English language, took a dump on Austin Metcalf's father. Who's the real victim here? Austin Metcalf's father has been on television immediately after the murder of his child. Hey, I forgive the killer. This isn't a racial incident. Austin Metcalf's father did say he took one little shot before that, like, hey, who raised this kid? But then he went on to say, I forgive him, and this isn't a racial deal. And so any parent would have that instinctive reaction. If their kid got killed by another 17-year-old kid over a disagreement about a seat, and their kid got stabbed in the heart, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what color you are, any parent's natural reaction will be like, who raised this kid? What's this kid's background? But not every parent would then pivot to, I forgive this man, and this wasn't a racial incident. So that man, Austin Metcalf's father, shows up at this press conference. And so that man offered an opportunity for Karmelo Anthony's family to say, and their spokesman to say, hey man, I understand your grief. I completely get it. We're sorry that your son lost his life. We appreciate you trying to remove the racial element from this. We appreciate the forgiveness you've offered to Karmelo Anthony, our son, the person I'm fighting for. We would prefer for you to leave this press conference. That would have been an appropriate statement, unless you want to come up here and we can be a symbol to everyone that, hey, we're not going to racially divide this thing. Both parties are going to seek what their perception of justice is, but we don't want to spark more racial division. Dominique Alexander, this Al Sharpton clown, Well, I don't, because Al Sharpton's a clown too. But this knockoff Al Sharpton with no command of the English language, no discernment, no logic, no reason, no evidence, no intelligence, it seems, opens up this press conference, taking a dump on the victim's father. Is that not whatever? Yeah, that's SOT number 3, it says here. Let's play that clip.
I want to start off this press conference to say something as a deep note that I can tell America. What we've seen at the beginning of this press conference, the father being at this press conference, these are my words, don't quote anybody, is a disrespect to the dignity of his son. Next Generation Action Network from the beginning has respected the loss of life. No matter our opinion of it, we have kept our opinion close. We have not attacked. We have not shared the information that was shared with us about Austin Metcalf, because we respect the dignity of life and loss. And as a minister, I would not attack a grieving family, even if I disagree with them. When I have stood before this podium for people who have died at the hands of law enforcement, I have asked for that same manner of respect. And even when the shoe is on the other foot, I will not do that. And all I'm going to say, so it don't be asked later, is that was disrespectful and just shows you all the character who is not invited. He knows that it's inappropriate to be near this family, but he did it. And so I say to people, actions speak louder than words. Okay? What he has failed into is the political operatives that want to make this thing a political thing of hate, yet bigotry, and yet racism. We have conservative operatives that have been posting nonstop about this case. It is outright disrespectful. We haven't been doing it. The Next Generation Action Network has
this, instead of this ambulance chasing Negro is one of the most ignorant people, repugnant people I've ever seen on a television camera. This ambulance chasing Negro that can't say the word that, it's inappropriate to be anywhere near this family. And he's right. Austin Metcalf's dad is risking his life being anywhere near this family. The last time a Metcalf was anywhere near an Anthony, a Metcalf, not a Metcalf, a Metcalf was murdered. This is the facts that he seems to be ignoring. So it be inappropriate, a disrespect to his son by showing up at the press conference. It disrespects the dignity of Austin Metcalf. I will not attack a grieving family as you attack a grieving family. This is insanity. And I'm so sick of the people trying to both sides this argument. Trying to, oh yeah, because they're taking their cues from this career criminal, no command of the English language, an idiot. They're taking their cues from him. These are these right-wing social media influencers. They're destroying justice, and they're putting out misinformation. And I'm looking at people run out to try to oh yeah, Dominique Alexander's right. The problem with this case isn't that a 17-year-old brought a knife to a high school event and stabbed someone over typical teenage disagreement. No, the real problem is these tweets from these right-wing conservatives. That's the real problem. And it must be addressed. This racial idolatry is out of control everywhere. This thing is so clear-cut. And I don't care if Austin Metcalf grabbed this dude's arm, grabbed his book pack. If he called, and I'm sure they'll claim, he called him the N-word. I don't care. I've been called the N-word by black people and white people throughout my life. Never grabbed a knife and stabbed anyone. Never pulled a gun and shot anyone. If you have that little self-control, if you're that easily triggered, if the culture that you adhere to is that easily triggered, oh, someone grabbed me by the arm, I have the right to stab them. Someone called me the N-word, I have the right to stab or kill them. If you have that little self-control, you need to be on a reservation somewhere, locked away from the rest of humanity and society that has more emotional control than that and doesn't buy into a culture that says any disrespect must be met with more disrespect. This is insanity, what we're seeing. It's scripted insanity, though. And when Jake Lang gets here, and I like Jake Lang, and I respect what he went through on January 6th, and them 3-4 years he did standing on his head in prison, hats off to Jake Lang. But this damn protest, Protect White Americans in Frisco, Texas, I got some real questions about, and I got some real questions for Jake Lang, and does he understand the big picture? Because they have put this Dominique Alexander, this bought and paid for illiterate clown, on one side to drum up racial division. And now there's a caravan of people going to Frisco, Texas to drum up more racial division. And no one can see what's going on here. And Stevie Wonder, with a brain, should be able to see what's going on here. They want tomorrow for there to be conflict, for there to be some sort of incident. They want Charlottesville 2.0. They want January 6 2.0. They want some sort of race war. And they're going to send agitators to make sure that happens, in my opinion. And when they do, when they get this racial conflict, the argument coming out of that will be, we got to change venues. You can't have this trial in Collin County. You can't have this trial in Denton County. You have to change the venue, because Collin County and Denton County, which basically cover the Frisco, Texas area, and Plano, Texas, where they live, both parties live, went to school, high school, in those counties. we got to move this someplace where there's more black folks. We got to get this. We got to move 20 miles to Dallas County. We have to move this trial somewhere where we can get more black jurors on the jury. They want jury nullification. They want a mistrial. They want a hung jury. They know this kid is guilty. But they also know that black Americans have been so programmed, have been so brainwashed into anything that hurts white people is good for black people. Any misery that we can spread and share with white people. And so, as black people, we can't socialize and hang out with each other without going through metal detectors in a nightclub because it's so dangerous. And so many of us get killed by this disrespect culture. It's a good thing that white people in the suburbs experience that too. I'm going to show you what they're looking for and why they are intent on stirring up enough trouble and enough drama so that they can argue, change of venue. Get this out of Denton and Collin County. Let's move it out of the suburbs where only 10% of the population is black, and let's get it to Dallas County so that we can get 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 black jurors. Who knows if we're lucky? And of that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 black jurors, can we get one who thinks like this video I'm about to play you? I'm sorry. Yep, let me, I'm looking at it. This is the Sneeko video. Sneeko is some internet influencer. He does these, what internet influencers do? They interview people on the street, you know, sit at a table in a mall, interview people. And so he's doing like a Steven Crowder, Change My Mind. Sneeko, you guys know him. I know the name. I don't know anything much about him, but I found this video interesting. He's sitting down with a young black man, interviewing him about the Karmelo Anthony case. And I want to play you this 2-minute video, and I want to show you what they're looking for. They want someone who thinks like this on the jury, and that's why they're happy that Jake Lang is leading a Protect White Americans rally in Frisco, Texas, and that's why they're happy that a retard, a criminal retard, is representing the Karmelo Anthony family. Let's play SOT number 11.
Do you think that was self-defense? You brought a knife to a track meet?
I'm gonna keep it real with you. I brought knives to school every day for years.
You what every day?
I brought knives to school every day.
You brought knives to school every why?
I got jumped. I had my nose broken. I had a concussion. I couldn't go to school for 3 weeks. I've seen people my age younger get robbed. I've seen people my age younger get beat up for no reason. I've seen people have petty grievances and take it out on other people for stupid things. So at a certain point, you have to, when it comes down to you or somebody else, you're always gonna pick yourself. So if he had a knife, I get it, because sometimes, you know, you by yourself and you're outnumbered. What are you gonna do?
But I think that Austin just asked him to move out of his seat.
I wasn't there. We wasn't there. We don't really. At the end of the day, like I said, whether or not he did, whether or not it went the way Austin said it went, or Austin's brother, whether or not it went the way Karmelo said it, this is one of those things about seeing race. Karmelo's gonna be the bad guy in that picture regardless.
Well, he's free now. He just the bond was posted. He's home, and they raised $400,000.
Yo, then he's free. He got probation for a year. He got an ankle monitor on. He can't leave his crib. And justice system will handle him. But I'm not really mad at it, even if he did it out of malice, because at the end of the day, like, being black in America is not always fun. And a lot of the time in that situation, whether he did it out of self-defense or not, he would have went to jail. So it's cathartic, like in an OJ way. OJ probably did do that, but...
What do you hope to see with this trial? Do you hope to see him walk free or go to jail?
If you ask like a personal opinion, I just want him to be home regardless.
You want to be home, even if he did it, you want him to be home?
Yeah. honestly, like I said, bro, I see people that look like me get incarcerated for everything. Get incarcerated for things you ain't do. Look at Khalif Browder. Khalif Browder got arrested for, and that was in New York. Khalif Browder got arrested for beating somebody up, stealing a book bag. And when you take a lot of losses, you know, as a community, you see things like that happen over and over, time and time again. You know, people going to jail for things they didn't do. You don't really care if somebody did it or not. Sometimes you want.
So you don't care if he did it or not?
Me personally, nah. Me personally, I don't care. I don't care.
That's what they're hoping. That someone who thinks like that, and there are people who think like that. There are people that have had their brains so brainwashed by hip-hop culture, brainwashed by their life experience in the ghetto, in the hood, by this hip-hop culture that feel so victimhood-ridden, that their mindset is, yeah, I want other people to feel as miserable and hate themselves the way that I do, and to be indifferent about life and death and innocent victims. And so this is all connected. Trust me, it's all connected. Why do we sit on this show and I tell you all constantly about a biblical worldview as it applies to life and when life begins? Because I've tried to explain to you all that this nihilistic mentality, a baby doesn't count until that baby comes out of the womb. And it's like, if you don't have the right worldview as it relates to when life begins, you don't have a biblical worldview, you start developing a nihilistic worldview. Well, I can kill a baby long as the baby's in the womb. That doesn't count. That murder of a child doesn't count. Once you adopt that mindset, you're now on the road to where that young man is. He's indifferent about life and death. Well, I see babies 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 16, 17 years old. Those are babies. They get aborted in these urban areas on a regular basis. And people have become indifferent. It's a rite of passage. Oh, my best friend got shot and killed at 14, 15 years old. Let's put him on a t-shirt and then keep it moving. Maybe I'll get a tattoo of him on my arm and then let's keep it moving. It's no big deal. It's part of life. So 17-year-old baby Austin Metcalf gets snuffed out. And oh, yeah, I hope the killer gets off. I'm indifferent. It's kind of cathartic, is what the kid said. They want someone like that on the jury. I want to just, while I'm here, this is why we support preborn. The fearless movement. This all connects. Everything we talk about on this show, it all connects. Preborn has our worldview that life begins at conception. And they provide expectant mothers with an ultrasound, introduce that baby's heartbeat, a sonogram, an image of that baby. That woman is now twice as likely to choose life. Preborn steps in, supports her and the child for up to 2 years. It's an amazing organization, and it's a worldview-changing organization. And all of us have to adopt that mentality. This abortion issue isn't well, I'm against abortion, but I'm not going to do anything to fight it. I'm just going to say, I'm against abortion. Now I'm covered. Now I can go out and support anybody else that's pro-abortion because I'm against abortion in my head. It's got to be more than that. Get in the game. Get in the fight. Give God and a baby a gift. Pound 250, keyword baby. Pound 250, say the word baby. Or visit preborn.com/fearless. $28 pays for an ultrasound. So whether you give $28, $280, $15,000, whatever, it goes to saving babies. The money's not blown on mid-level executives. Preborn is part of our worldview. Let me keep it moving. Thank you, Dan Snyder and Preborn, because they allow me to be this honest with you all. They don't want this level of honesty in the media space. They don't they don't want you understanding the game that's being played on you. They're playing a game of chess, you're playing a game of checkers. You can't see what they're doing and how both sides, these racial idolaters, they work hand in hand. They're in on the chaos together and the racial division together. We'll get to Jake playing here in about 30 minutes. We'll have him on. He's got his reasons just why he's doing this protest. Maybe he doesn't know how this protest can be. We'll pray to God that this protest will go off without an incident. It'll be peaceful and nothing will happen. There won't be outside agitators. But I really don't want to take that risk. Because this dividing up, protect white Americans. No, we need to protect Americans. We need to protect Christians. Our identities, if we want to fix this problem, has to be Christian and American. Your religious faith, your country, and your language define your identity. This white-black thing is a false construct used to divide us. And these people keep, oh, I'm picking sides based on white or black. And I get all the alleged conservative black influencers. I see the game. I see it all. And this is why I'm not liked. Here's the game many of you are playing. Hey, well, I'm going to pretend like, hey, Karmelo Anthony, he may have a side here, and any of these people that are upset and outraged by what went on with Austin Metcalf and Karmelo Anthony, they're overstepping, they're too eager. They shouldn't be saying these things. They shouldn't point out things about black culture. They shouldn't be talking about the perception that black people are overwhelmingly supporting Karmelo Anthony. They shouldn't talk about that. They're no different than the left. Cut it out. There are people that are sitting there going, they've done the math, they've done the calculation. It's a calculated move. So if on the off chance video gets released that shows Austin Metcalf beating up Karmelo Anthony, they can all go, see, I told you, you guys were too soon. You should have waited for the facts. You just should have waited. You shouldn't have said anything. You should be patient. We're the responsible Negroes. We're waiting for all the evidence to come in. You guys have made a mistake. If the video comes out and it looks like what I think it's going to look like, there's no justification, no real provocation, nothing that justifies stabbing this kid in the heart. And for me, if the video comes out and Austin Metcalf shoved this dude to the ground or punched him, it don't justify stabbing the kid in the heart. But I don't think the video is going to show that. I think it's going to show just what Karmelo Anthony said to police in the heat of the moment. He put his hands on me. He touched me and I stabbed him. And so their plan for that is, well, now that the evidence has come in, you're right. It was outrageous what Karmelo Anthony did. I was just responsibly waiting for the evidence. So they're covered either way. They're not taking a risk. They're playing the lottery. Hey, not much chance of me being right, but if I cash this lottery ticket, look at the upside, and there's no downside to me pretend I was just waiting on the evidence. Here's the evidence. Someone brought a knife to a high school event and used it to stab someone who didn't have a knife or a gun. Didn't we just listen to all for 10 years, a decade of unarmed black man shot by police? This is an unarmed white boy stabbed by a black boy. Let me continue. We've played the Sneeko video. I've set you up for the Jake Lang interview that we'll do here in about 25, 30 minutes. I want to play you some more of Dominique Alexander and a lot of his illogic. And this was, of all the things that got said yesterday, this man put together an argument that, and it's an implied argument, that the school was responsible and to blame for this because they knew the weather reports called for rain. And the school should have canceled the track meet. And if they had just canceled this track meet knowing that there was rain, Karmelo Anthony would have never gone underneath that tent. Now, he doesn't say it that clearly, but that's the only way you can interpret what this clown said. When I heard this and I'm watching this, I'm like, we are totally in clown world. And I'm questioning everything about the family, the mother and the father, that said, this clown with a criminal history, no command of the English language, and no logic. You let this man stand out here in front of hot mics and cameras and insinuate, well, my son would have never stabbed him if they had canceled the track meet. And he wouldn't have needed to be under that tent because it was going to rain. Let's play sock number 2.
Karmelo Anthony doesn't have to walk. He doesn't have to involve in any senior activities. But Karmelo Anthony is a 3.7 GPA student. And if he doesn't even go to class...
Pause. Hit pause. Hit pause. Because I almost... The beginning part of this is him complaining. Now, we're going to pick up right where he left off, but him complaining that the school system has said, hey, we're expelling Karmelo. And so he put a little complaint in about, how dare they do this? They're denying, he hasn't been proven guilty yet. And what the school system is saying is, now, we got enough right here. This man brought a knife to a high school track meet. He's expelled, whether he killed anybody or not. We don't want children at our schools that are bringing knives to track meets or in our building. I guarantee it's probably in their policies. You bring some weapon into school, you get expelled. That's what he's getting expelled about. This clown, Dominique Alexander, is like, he's upset with it. How dare they suspend Karmelo? He's a straight A student. And yes, he brought a knife to school, but he did that to protect himself from the rain. He was going to hold this knife over his head and block the rain. Continue with the clip.
For the remainder of the year, he would graduate, okay? We've asked that Frisco do not make a decision in this situation, but Frisco ISD has notified of their intent to expel Karmelo Anthony from school 1 month before his high school graduation. That just shows me that Frisco ISD is trying to push off the blame. And what I have not heard the media say, as many media outlets have asked us what went on, I'm trying to find how many of y'all have asked the superintendent or one single board of trustees, why didn't you cancel or postpone? With weather in that magnitude, you couldn't have a track meet in rain or thunderstorm or clouds. Y'all are the media. Ask your journalists, your weather journalists, how the weather was that day and that time. Y'all do that research. Because as a person who is the administrator of your children, You are responsible for the safety of the children. And so it seems as if Frisco ISD is trying to push this off by making this decision that they do not have to make.
All the people running around defending this Karmelo Anthony thing, just wait, we gotta wait for the evidence. There's two sides to this. Pump your brakes. When you see a family that hires the next generation activist Negroes or the next generation ambulance chaser, and he's out holding a press conference with mama and daddy standing right behind, and he's making the argument, it's the school's fault. Didn't they know? They had to protect those kids from rain. Now, I know things have changed since I was in high school. But I didn't run. I participated in track and field through the shot and the disc. We did it in the rain. We played football in the rain. This man is arguing it's the school's fault for not canceling the track meet. If they had canceled the track meet, there was no possibility of Karmelo stabbing the kid. That's what he's arguing. And people are out here defending this and thinking that they have some ground to stand on here. If they had ground to stand on, he wouldn't be arguing it's the school's fault. It was going to rain that day. And you know, when it's rainy outside or there's the possibility of rain outside, you know, kids then get real stabby. And they knew that. They should have known that going ahead. With that type of rain, can you really blame someone for getting stabby when they've been disrespected? We're making fools of ourselves. This world is upside down. And we're called, those of us that are believers, to stand against this type of insanity, to stand against a culture that justifies and defends this kind of depravity. There's a 17-year-old child that got murdered over a tiny disagreement. Standard operating procedure, standard behavior at any school I've ever been involved with. Kids are going to disagree, and there's going to be tension, and there's going to be verbal conflict. Pulling out a knife and stabbing someone is never the right answer. Period. End of story. Well, he called him the N-word. He put his hands on him. You sound like a clown. And perhaps you are a clown. You sound like someone so controlled with racial idolatry that you've turned yourself into an idiot. This press conference, and I hope y'all watch this, the whole 30 minutes. We'll get through it so you don't have to. It was a commercial. This was a television commercial for Dominique Alexander and next generation activist Negroes. By my count, during this 30-minute press conference, Dominique Alexander referenced Next Generation Action Negroes or Next Generation Action Network 13 times. Never once did I hear him say just we. You shorten things. It would be like me every time I reference this show saying Fearless with Jason Whitlock, when I could just say Fearless, or I could just say we're doing this or we're doing that. It was a commercial. Hey, I got cameras on us. This is going to go viral. I'm here to agitate and inflame this situation, and I want to brand Next Generation Action Negroes as some big event. And we're replacing, I'm the new Al Sharpton. I want to join Ben Crump in being an ambulance chaser and going around making money off of murder. I want to be the rapper activist. Money off of murder. That's what they've been doing in the rap industry, and now that's what they're doing in the criminal justice system. How can I benefit myself and make money off of murder? And there are people defending this all over their political idolatry. This is incredible. I got two different versions on this SOT sheet. So let me play SOT number one. I think there's a mistake on this shot sheet. Let's play SOT number one. This is him just repeatedly mentioning next generation activist Negroes. Play the clip.
Y'all, I'm Minister Dominique Alexander. I serve as the president of the Next Generation Action Network. The Next Generation Action Network, the Next Generation Action Network, Next Generation Action Network from the beginning. The Next Generation Action Network, the Next Generation Action Network, the Next Generation Action Network has been here. The Next Generation Action Network, the Next Generation Action Network, what I've always said as the president of the Next Generation Action Network. Now the Next Generation Action Network, the Next Generation Action Network, since they tried to come for us, I call for the community's overwhelming support for this fund. The disinformation that was put out was literally deliberate to prevent you from helping this family. And I want you to give overwhelming support to show them the community united can never be divided.
So I'm gonna play that clip again, because the stuff at the end of that clip is how he summarized. This is in the last 3 to 4 minutes of the closing of this commercial. He does an appeal to, hey, keep sending that money in. Keep sending that money in. We need overwhelming support. We're fighting these racist bigots. Make sure you're supporting the Next Generation Action Negroes. This was the most craven, nihilistic money for murder thing I've ever seen. Kept branding himself, his organization, and then wraps it all into, and black people, you gotta support us. Keep sending money to Give, Send, Go. We're fighting the racists. This was a commercial and just a money grab. And that family stood there behind him. It was a 31-minute press conference. The mother spoke for 4 minutes, and I'll play you that. This man did a 27-minute commercial begging for money and branding his organization and himself. Anybody that watches that commercial should be running for the hill. I got to get as far away from these people and this controversy and this Karmelo Anthony thing, because they don't have a case, they don't have a side, they're sitting around, blame it on the rain. They went full-blown Milli Vanilli, blame it on the rain. But send me that money. Play that clip again. This is him, branding. Make sure you're sending me money.
Y'all, I'm Minister Dominique Alexander. I serve as the president of the Next Generation Action Network. The Next Generation Action Network, the Next Generation Action Network, Next Generation Action Network from the beginning. The Next Generation Action Network, the Next Generation Action Network, the Next Generation Action Network has been here. The Next Generation Action Network, the Next Generation Action Network, what I've always said as the president of the Next Generation Action Network. Now the Next Generation Action Network, the Next Generation Action Network, since they tried to come for us, I call for the community's overwhelming support for this fund. The disinformation that was put out was literally deliberate to prevent you from helping this family. And I want you to give overwhelming support to show them the community united can never be divided.
Let me play you this. This will be SOT number 4, because I think this is what he said right before that ending part about, the community divided can't be divided, and make sure you're sending the money, blah, blah, blah. He set it all up by nailing himself and the Anthony family to the cross. And he did it by talking about all the social media threats that they have faced. Let's play SOT number 4.
Since this tragedy unfolded, the Anthony family has been subject to unimaginable amount of hate, racism, threats to their safety. People have sat outside their house, sent objects delivered to their door, publicly harassed, online and in person. This is not just about Karmelo. It's about the family who dared to stand and demand justice in a return and receive ugliness that racism in this country still breeds. But let me say this loud and clear. We are not scared. We are not moving. We will not be silent. What I've always said as the president of the Next Generation Action Network, we will never ask the oppressor for permission to liberate our people. We will not ask for permission to stand up for the rights of our children. The Next Generation Action Network has stood on both sides of the fence in ensuring that justice is served. Now getting to the information.
This man put himself, the organization, Karmelo Anthony's family, on the cross. They're the victims here. Now, there's another family who buried their 17-year-old child, who was stabbed in the heart over a verbal disagreement. But they're turning this into, no, we're the real victims, and you need to send money to support us because we're the real victims. This is incredible. This is some of the most immoral behavior I've ever seen. A 17-year-old boy stabbed and killed another 17-year-old boy. And what we've heard from the actual victim's family, from the father, we forgive him, this isn't a racial thing, pointing people towards healing and harmony. And what we're hearing from the perpetrator's family and mouthpiece, they're racist, we're the victims of racism. Have you not seen these social media posts? We're the real victims here. And send money, because money will fix it. This is incredible. I don't understand how anybody would defend this. I don't understand why people aren't repulsed by this and speaking out loudly about this. This world is upside down. This world is antithetical to a biblical worldview, to Jesus Christ. You can't justify this murder. You can't. And trust me, if I'm wrong, and they release some video that says, well, here it is, Austin Metcalf with a knife. Here it is, Austin Metcalf with a gun. Here it is, Austin Metcalf beating Karmelo Anthony within an inch of his life. I'll come out on this show and I'll do weeks worth of shows apologizing. That ain't gonna happen. That is not going to happen. I've been wrong about a lot of things. I want to play one more clip, and Jake Lang, if you're watching, listening, and Hadley, tell Jake I may be like 5 minutes behind schedule here because I got to unpack this last part of them nailing themselves to the cross and nailing the Anthony family to the cross, and then I want to juxtapose it to what really goes on. So I want to play, this is SOT number 6, I believe. This is Dominique Alexander talking about all the social media threats that the Anthony family has experienced. And this was, again, all part of the buildup. And that's why you must send money. Hit that give, send, go, because we're united. And these racists, the KKK, they can't defend us if we're united. And I'm telling you, this is why I'm telling you this rally, this protest rally is a mistake. Because they want to argue, starting Saturday, these are the racists we're fighting against. Look, we provoked them into a conflict, and look at these white nationalists, white racists, that's who we're fighting against. Send money. Let's play SOT number 6.
I'm going to show something of a post. You come for me, I come for you. Sarah Fields. Never heard of this woman. This is the kind of despicable things that led to the father being here. Political operatives motivating this family with hate. Karmelo Anthony posted on something that shows, posted here. These are the type of lies that are threatening this family. Posting the family's picture. These are the type of lies. She's getting millions of views on this. Sarah, she's even came after me. She's even said all of those things. And now that the public knows exactly what is going on, I ask, because these racist bigots try to prevent us from standing up for our baby, our boy, he should be afforded the same rights that Kyle Rittenhouse had, Daniel Penna, and all of the people who have claimed whatever their defense was. He should be afforded the same right. Nobody in the public media has one video camera, but we got the video of Kyle Rittenhouse with an AK-47 shooting 3 people in the back. We got that. And he raised more than $2 million publicly, and nobody says anything. So since they tried to come for us, I call for the community's overwhelming support for this fund. The disinformation that was put out was literally deliberate to prevent you from helping this family. And I want you to give overwhelming support to show them the community united can never be divided. And I'm gonna say this again, and this is for everybody. Black people in America, while the current occupant sits at 1600 Pennsylvania, black people in America don't have to pull the race card. It's what we live as a reality every day. It's what we have to teach our children. We don't want to, but we have to. We don't like to, but if we want to sleep at night, we got to. I ain't pulling no race card, I live it. I'm reminded all the time that I'm a black man in America.
You get the big picture? How he tied all that together, put himself on the cross, put the family on the cross, and then ended it. Now send money. And there are people defending this and thinking that this is the behavior that makes people think, well, Karmelo may have been justified. There's two sides to this. Did anyone watch this press conference and seen the behavior of the other side throughout this entire process? This is insanity. And we're going to get to Jake Lang, and so I'm going to be quick here, and then I got other parts of this press conference. We're going to play the mama and all that. But let me just be crystal clear here about this cross that they put Karmelo Anthony's mother and father and brothers and siblings into. And how, let's shower them with sympathy. They're getting social media posts. Oh, the horror. They can't sleep at night. They got to move to a gated community, send money. They need a new house someplace else, send money. What do you think goes on in Baltimore, Chicago, Compton, South Central Los Angeles, Philadelphia, in these high crime urban areas, Washington, D.C.? What do you think a child, a mother, a single mother that lives on O Block in Chicago, or lives in, and I don't know, when I was growing up in Indianapolis, we had a neighborhood called Brightwood. Wasn't the safest neighborhood. Maybe it's gotten better. I don't know. I haven't lived in Indy. I can't remember. But in any of these projects all around the country, New York, Mercy Park, or whatever Jay-Z and them talk about, what are those kids and mothers going through every day in a zip code where bodies get dropped, either shot or killed or stabbed, virtually every day? You think they got some anxiety going on? You think they have some real fear when the Bloods and the Crips or the Gangster Disciples and the Vice Lords start popping off and having turf wars or beefs over disrespect? When they hear shots fired and they normalize, hey, let me go hop in the bathtub because one of these bullets may come through the window. Those are families living in real fear. They're not worried about, did you see this social media post that the Gangster Disciples put out? Oh, I can't sleep tonight. It ain't the social media post. It's the bullets that they hear, the helicopters that they hear, the police sirens that they hear on a regular basis. And I'm supposed to be concerned about Karmelo Anthony's mama and his brothers and sisters? Karmelo Anthony did that. And it's not that I have no sympathy for them, but coming out here putting them on a cross like nobody knows the trouble they've seen, oh, they're getting social media posts. And I'm supposed to pretend there's not black babies and black mamas all over the country that can't sleep at night out of real fear? Go check the stats on the zip code they live in and the likelihood of them being harmed by the KKK or the Proud Boys or anybody. Go check the likelihood. They got a better chance of being struck by lightning than being harmed by the Proud Boys or the KKK or these white bigots. This is incredible. The cosplay and the game and this 30-minute commercial that they put together. Feel sorry for us. We're the real victims. The Metcalfs, they're not the victims. We are. Their son only got stabbed in the heart. Have you seen these social media posts? National or next generation activist Negroes and their supporters. Cut it out. They're stirring up chaos and division, hoping to spark a conflict so that they can get a change of venue and get a jury nullification jury impaneled. Don't you play along with them. Don't you let them run you into a trap this weekend in Frisco, Texas, where they can spark some sort of conflict, and then the next generation activist Negroes can say, see, we got to have a change of venue. We can't have a trial where the crime happened and where the suspect lives. We need to move this trial to Dallas County so that we can get jurors that think like the guy Sneeko interviewed. Don't go anywhere. Jake Lang is just around the corner. Sorry, Jake, for making you wait, but I want to hear you justify this rally, and I want to hear you explain this risk you're asking people to take that could actually harm justice. Before we do that, you've heard me talk about Relief Factor and how so many people that I know, love, they're doing the same thing as me. They've incorporated Relief Factor into their daily routine, and they're receiving the benefits. It ain't just me, it's Jeffrey Steele. I've shared with you the story. The guy bikes 30 miles a day. He's 60 years old, and he can only bike 30 miles a day because he pops one of these 100% drug-free packets. And you can get a 3-week quick start of Relief Factor that will let you know probably within 3 weeks, like, hey, does this working for me? Because 70% of the people that try the $20 3-week quick start return and re-up because they're receiving the benefits. $20, and you can start relieving that pain. All you have to do, call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF, or visit relieffactor.com. Join me, Jeffrey Steele, and everybody else that's old, that's trying to revitalize themselves, trying to be active. Incorporate Relief Factor into your routine. You can start receiving the benefits. Jake Lang and a discussion about the protest he's planning tomorrow in Frisco, Texas, next.
Hey, it's Tucker Carlson. There's something bad going on with American men. It's been obvious for a while. It's measurable in a million different ways, but it's also right in front of your face. We have a massive problem with American men, and very few people have even bothered to notice, much less take it seriously. One of them is my friend Jason Whitlock in Nashville, who I've known for a long time and really love. He's decent and smart and totally fearless. And for that reason, I'm joining him on Friday, May 2nd in Nashville for the Roll Call 3.0 conference. And I literally can't wait to do it. I'm flying down just for that, and I'm excited for it because I think this really matters, and I think Jason is wise on the subject. So I'm there to talk, but also to learn, and I hope to see you there.
Join us at Fearless Roll Call 3.0. Real men, real conversations, real purpose. Tickets at fearlessrollcall.com.
All right, welcome back. All right, hold on. Jake Lang, I was reading your note. Jake Lang, welcome back to the program. Jake, I want to hear your explanation about why you're leading this protest. Uh-oh. I think they're saying the video or the audio is fine, but the video cuts in and out a little bit. Jake, why are you leading this protest in Frisco, Texas tomorrow?
Jason, thanks for having me on. You know, normally I'm very jovial when I join your program, just getting out of prison 86 days ago from a presidential pardon. You know, this is the type of thing where justice needs to be served. In this case, we have a killer on the loose, which you have said multiple times here. This man killed Austin Metcalf in cold blood. And there used to be sacred honor amongst men, a time where we could grieve, where the public could gather together and show up and show support for senseless violence. This is senseless violence. And they have stolen that from us. Part of the PSYOP with January 6th was to try to turn people away from exercising their God-given rights. And that's what we're doing today. We're standing up. I am a white American. I am Jewish by bloodline, Christian by faith. And I understand that my community, there are millions of white Americans out there living in fear every day of being terrorized. Every single day I turn on my X feed and I see hundreds of videos of young black women and men attacking, gang beating, curb stomping, robbing, and terrorizing the white Americans. And I have to stand up as a leader of my community and address this for what it is. If it were just a couple cases left or right, here or there, we could, kind of chalk it up to a violent issue in America. But there is statistical data, factual data, 12 times the amount of black people robbing white people as the opposite way. That is a systemic issue that needs to be addressed and needs to be talked about for what it is. We cannot tiptoe around the issue. If we want to solve the culture of black violence in America, this violent hip-hop gang culture, we need to name it for what it is. And as a white American myself, I have so much love for my community. I am very worried about the people in my community being assaulted. I also have love for the black community, and that's why I'm not just calling out this protest and this gathering with hatred, but we have consistently said we want to uplift the black community, return the modesty, the dignity, the love that they used to share with the white community of the Martin Luther King era, where they wore suits, they went to church, they had this great atmosphere about them. That is completely gone. There's a degenerate culture that is pervasive in a large majority of black Americans, and we need to address it as white Americans and say, please stop predatorizing. And please is a nice word. We're demanding, we're making a show of strength and a love of unity, demanding in the white community, stop predatorizing white Americans. You have been brainwashed, the black community in by and large, not your audience, the black conservatives that watch your program, which is an amazing program, have nothing really to do with what we're talking about. But the other, I would say, all of the people who voted for Kamala Harris, which 97% of black women voted for Kamala Harris and over 80% of black men, those voters, that population, I am addressing those people today. They have ingrained with inside their own youth by propping up athletes, ball players, rappers, and other basically people that are living for the moment, not trying to sew in any type of longevity. There is a epidemic of immediate gratification in the black community. No one is willing to go to college, buy businesses, and by and large, and build into their community. As soon as one of these rappers or ball players gets any money, they move out of their community and they move into a white community, and they bring this degenerate culture with them. And eventually it is spreading out into the suburbs. It's spreading out into all of America. We are not safe. The white people in America are not safe right now. And we need to address and build with the black community to restore peace and honor amongst the different races in America and return to e pluribus plurim, out of many, one.
Jake, you're wearing a cross. You part of your survival in prison was turning to the Bible, and the racial idolatry that you're talking about, and limiting, white people. We're being attacked. I'm sitting here as a black man.
Are we not being attacked, Jason? Are we not being attacked? Do you turn on your X feed every day and see dozens and dozens of videos of white people being attacked by black people? I'm asking you a question. Do you see that or not?
Put Jake on pause. Put Jake on pause. Put Jake on pause or hold. Jake, I'm not interrupting you. I'm going to let you speak for as long as you want to speak. But I get to talk on this show too. And so what you said, there's truth to what you said, but there's also this truth. This black pagan culture that has been adopted among a mass number of black people is killing and destroying far more black people than white people. That does not excuse what is happening to white people.
I'm not here to address that today. I'm here to stand for my community today.
I got it. Put him back on pause. Let me finish my point.
The black on black violence is an epidemic.
Could we mute him for a second? I'm saying that I'm more likely to be harmed by this pagan culture, far more likely than you. And so when you have a white rally, which is unbiblical, these problems aren't defined this way in the Bible. There's a history of human beings adopting pagan cultures that are self-destructive. And so when you wear the cross and portray yourself as a Christian, but you come up with non-Christian solutions is disconcerting to me. And so now I will let you respond to that. Take as much time as you want.
I haven't offered any solutions here. I have not offered any solutions yet. The solution that we're looking for, the reason why this protest is happening, is we are demanding that the killer, Karmelo Anthony, is put behind bars immediately. Jason, I have a very deep connection to this issue. I spent 1,467 days as a January 6th political prisoner. I have no criminal record. I was never offered bond. I tried 3 times. They never gave me bond. I put up millions of dollars in the household property, in cash value, and I never got bond. I spent 900 days solitary confinement. There is a discrepancy, an unequal application of the law, a selective prosecution happening to white Americans right now. If the Black American community can understand 60, 70 years ago what was happening to them in the down South, where the judges and the juries were being inordinate and being selective and making sure that they had no chance of justice, then you must recognize that same thing is happening to our community. The Black young men that are perpetrating violence on white men and white women across this country are in a revolving door of bail. In New York City, where I am from, and now I'm living in Florida, there is a bail reform act that literally puts killers, robbers, rapists, and all of these Black violent perpetrators back on the street to perpetrate more violence on a predominant amount of white people. This is insane. We need to address the issues at facial value. We can't tiptoe around this thing. We need to call, as a member of my community, now the Black community, for even allowing this type of culture to pervade you guys. You need to deal with Black on Black violence on your own, but you also need to say, we are perpetrating violence against white people in mass. They are not safe in the country where they are the predominant race and heritage and culture. And this is not true. We are being very, basically, the white people in America have been quiet and been very patient for a very long time. And this is the first time there is an anti-white violence rally ever in America that I can name, that has no ties to KKK or anything. I'm Jewish, and I love my Black friends, and I love you, Jason, with all my heart. You are my Christian brother. We are in the body of Christ, but it is up to you and the members, the Little Gunna and Little Ty Savage and all these rappers. They are perpetrating violence with the culture they are spreading against my people that I represent. And I'm here today to make a stand. Actually, tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central at Kai Kendall Stadium, the place where Austin Metcalf's blood is still fresh on the bleachers. Tomorrow in Frisco, Texas at 11 a.m., we will be praying in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. We will be advocating for white safety, for white people to protect themselves against the violence that is being perpetrated against us. And of course, we will be addressing the issue of the violent gang culture that has basically usurped the entire Black ideology in America, and calling upon our Black brothers to stand with us and to extricate, to drive that out, to condemn that culture by and large, which I know you do, but it needs to be said, not just in a general statement. It needs to be said, the actual results of that culture are being not just perpetrated Black on Black violence. You can look at that statistic all day. I'm here as a representative of my community. I'm saying enough is enough. Enough Black violence on white people in America.
Jake, let me ask you another question. You've taken your identity, like you've bought into the same solution or the same identity that has helped walk Black people into this pagan culture. They take their identity from their skin color rather than taking their identity in Christ. And so when I see people like yourself basically repeating the behavior of the people that you're protesting against or calling out and calling for repentance, but you're adopting the same strategy, and I think you think you're immune from the same consequences. Black racial idolatry led to this pagan culture that is destroying Black people and undermining safety throughout America. And so when you adopt their tactics while calling out the results of their tactics, that's when I have to question it. And then the last thing I'll say is where I started this show with. What I'm concerned about, what you guys are doing tomorrow, is there's going to be some sort of conflict that their defense team is going to use to argue, we got to have a change of venue. We can't have this trial in Collin County or Denton County where this actually happened. We got to move it to Dallas County where there's a higher percentage of getting black jurors on that jury pool, and they will go to jury nullification rather than justice. And so that's where I'm like, is this a setup? We're going to have some sort of conflict, and then the other side that I call out constantly, they're going to use that to push for a different venue for the trial. It's going to actually hurt Austin Metcalf and his family.
Let me address issues, Jason. First of all, in the biblical understanding that I have from reading the Bible about a dozen times in that solitary confinement prison cell, I see that the Lord raises up people from different communities and different backgrounds to advocate for not only their community and other communities. I'm doing a dual advocacy. I'm not only advocating for white people to be protected in America, but also to fix black culture. I'm not just, in one way going, an extremist route. I'm saying that this is, I want to see the black community not perpetrate black on black violence. If today, the result of today was that white Americans stop getting attacked, that would be great. But the job is not done there. If all of a sudden, miraculously, the black culture stopped perpetrating violence on white Americans, but tomorrow there were still hundreds of shootings in Chicago, that's not where we're done. We're willing to stand with you to help heal and fix and engender your community to come back to American excellence, the purity and the love of Jesus Christ that is supposed to pervade to all Americans. This is a Christian country. And so, I wanted to address that in the Bible, David fought for his people. When you have to fix your own house first before you can worry about fixing other people's homes. Right now, I'm here as an advocate for my community. And second of all, today's conversation topic is not necessarily about racism. It's about, because racism, God forbid, is illegal. It's legal in America. But we're talking about, if white people are racist against black people but not perpetrating acts of violence, that's a different topic. We're talking about racism in black people that is actually incurring into violence, into illegal acts of violence on Americans. And so there may be a cultural problem on both sides with a little bit of hatred for each other right now that X is pushing and whatnot, and we can address that separately. But you have to say, even if there's a cultural problem on both sides, there's only one party that is by and large attacking and actually violating the other party. And so today I'm condemning black violence. Racism and that topic is a huge Pandora's box, and we can unload it another time. I'm here to make a stand today to say no more Austin Metcalfs, no more statistics of young white men being attacked by black people and being victimized and predatorized. We can deal with racism on another day, and truly the only one who can deal with racism is the Lord Jesus Christ, because that is a condition of the heart. We're talking about a condition of the hands here. Actual guns and triggers being pulled and knives being plunged into young white men's hearts. That is what I'm here today to condemn. That's what I'm here today to stop and to call out upon the black community. Stop attacking my people randomly. The punch-out games, the knockout games. They're doing it to Asians too. We saw that during COVID. The young black men were violently attacking Asians and Indians in the grocery stores. And this is a problem, not just for white Americans, but I have to address it from the stance of who I am, the identity of my bloodline. Through thousands of years, I have been passed through my bloodline, my culture, my heritage, and I have to honor the people that have survived for thousands of years and say, my people, the white people in America, are done being victimized. We need to make a stand and to call it out for what it is. And so we're here today, and I ask you to join us, Jason, and say, I also stand with the ultimate goal: put Karmelo Anthony back in jail and stop black violence on white Americans. Are you willing to stand with me today on that?
I want Karmelo Anthony convicted for murdering Austin Metcalf. I've been crystal clear on that, where I stand. I want him convicted for murdering Austin Metcalf. I'm concerned that your protest in Raleigh, Jake, you got to stop and let me answer your question. We got to be able to properly engage. I'm concerned that the protest rally that you're going to do is going to harm the chances of getting a conviction and perhaps lead to a change of venue, which would hurt the chance of conviction. Turn his mic back on,
For
and
other
please,
Black
I'm hoping
Americans,
he
that this
listens.
violence against white people will not stand. We need you, Jason, as one of the main voices in the Black community to say Karmelo Anthony needs to be behind bars today, and Black Americans need to stop perpetrating violence on white Americans. The brainwashing that we are oppressors, that we are evil, is the reason why Karmelo Anthony plunged a knife into Austin Metcalf's chest. There needs to be condemnation, verbally and vocally from you on this topic. You cannot fence ride. You cannot be weak on this topic. Karmelo Anthony needs to be behind bars, and we need voices like yours, Christian strong men of faith, to say Black violence is unacceptable and reprehensible against white Americans. It is an epidemic. Why won't you say that, Jason?
Put him on pause. I'm going to answer his question, but mute him because I don't want him to cut me off. I want Karmelo Anthony convicted of first-degree murder because that's what I believe happened at this point. And there's a legal process. People are granted bond, and people accused of murder get granted bond, and if they can post that bond, they get released from prison. I don't want a protest rally to spin out of control and to let the defense team use it as an excuse to change the venue, which will make it less likely for Karmelo Anthony to get convicted of first-degree murder. That's my concern about your protest rally. That's my position.
The exact weak stance that has us in this position to begin with.
I didn't hear the first part. This is the weak stance.
I said that. I said with all due respect, Jason, that is the exact weakness from your community that has us in this position to begin with. Be very clear when you speak. Be intentional when you speak. You need to condemn this man. I was not given bond. Murderers who admit to plunging a knife into an unarmed 17-year-old's chest at a track meet do not need to be out on the streets. How could you ever be obtuse about your answer in this? Jason, I love you. Why would you, you're a father, aren't you? Would you, if this Rolls River killer at his house right now with his family, enjoying steak dinners and playing Xbox all day and living it up, he will be out on bond for 2 to 3 years before he's convicted. Are you kidding me?
Hey, hold for 1 second, Jake. We're having a slight technical. Take me off camera. As long as you take me off camera, put Jake on camera. And as long as we can hear me, we're good. If the audio's good, I don't want to stop the conversation. And so, okay, now we're good. And Jake is still there, I'm hoping. Listen, there's an instant gratification of Karmelo Anthony being in jail. I would prefer that instant gratification. Just look at me. I like instant gratification. That's why I have, eating problem. I like instant, but I'm wise enough and live long enough to know we got to play the long game here, because I've seen these types of cases and things spin out of control, and I don't want us played here. And so I hear you putting the attack and putting the ball in my court. You want me to say X, Y, or Z. I don't want to control what you're saying, but I would like for you to answer the question. Are you concerned that the event you're leading could potentially lead to a change of venue out of Collin or Denton County, where there's more likely to be justice than if it gets moved to Dallas County or someplace else, so they can stack the jury with brainwashed, pagan culture, Black Democrat voters, and the next thing you know, we got a mistrial or we got some conviction on some weak charge rather than first-degree murder. Is that a concern of yours?
Let me address. I will answer that. First of all, it's not instant gratification. It's justice. Okay, that you can't. This is not. These aren't social issues we're talking about. To kind of play footsies with. There's a murder on the loose. He's at home. He could get mad and plunge a knife into another young man's chest at any moment from, just somebody walking up and delivering a newspaper at his desk. This is a man that has no control of his emotional grasp and will kill somebody again if given the chance. This is not instant gratification. That's justice. Second of all, our founding fathers are rolling in the grave right now with you trying to justify my ability or try to deter my ability from exercising my First Amendment God-given right and say, oh, there could be feds, oh, there could be violence, oh, there could be this, there could be that. All of those situations are outside the main purview. I have a right and I have a duty and honor. I need to honor Austin Metcalf and call for justice for Karmelo Anthony. Everything outside those two statements is fluff and cotton candy. This is the meat. We need to honor a young man that was killed in cold blood, and we need to call for justice of a murder that is out on the street. You can make a million other topics around that, Jason, but I'm talking about strength. I'm talking about honor, and I'm talking about honoring God here and honoring a man that lost his life. Don't give me all these peripheral issues. Stick to the meat and potatoes. A dead man's blood is crying out for justice, and we need to back that man. My heart is broken for his family, Jason. Imagine being that man's family right now. This is a human time to be human. We need to grieve together. We need to pray together. This is not some type of political mantelpiece that I'm taking. I am a human being that is grieving, and I'm also a human being that has gone through years without being bonded out and understanding what that's like, for not committing violence, for being in true self-defense, for defending my country. And this murder is let out 12 days after he perpetrates such a grievous act of inhumane, animalistic behavior. All of it, we need to stay focused. Focus, justice, and honor. These are the things that matter to me, not about anything else that can spin out of control. And we are taking all steps. We are in contact. We just took a call from the Frisco Police Department. Officer Colvin, he is on it. We have separate locations for each individual, for the protesters and the counter protesters, the supporters of Austin and the supporters of Anthony, whatever the kind of Satanist rituals are going to be doing, blood sacrifices. I mean, I don't know how anybody could support that murderer, but there will be people showing up to support. We are going to run a safe and well-organized event. I can only do what I can do and work with the police and work with the community I represent and rely on Father God, whose angels will protect us with a hedge of protection and keep this focus on honoring Austin and getting justice against that murderer. And that's it. If you want to dissuade people from coming to this event by saying violence, feds, it's a setup, all that, you are making our founding fathers roll in the grave. We need to exercise our rights without fear in America. And that's what they wanted with January 6th. People to be chilled from ever speaking out against any injustice or any governmental overreach. And this is why we have a First Amendment, not to be scared and be like children hiding under our bed, but when there is injustice, we must stand. That's why our founding fathers' blood spilled for these rights that I'm exercising today.
Jake, let me be quick with this one, and then I have a follow-up question you can be a little bit more long-winded on. I want to be careful in terms of what I say, what I reveal, but I have been in contact with and have talked to people in the Austin Metcalf family. And this is before. I haven't talked to them about what you guys are doing. I want to be crystal clear. But I have been in contact with people in their family. And I have genuine concern. I've spent a lot of time on this show. We mostly talk sports on this show. I've spent a lot of time talking about this issue on this show. I'm not trying to defend myself because it really doesn't matter. But have you asked anyone in the Austin Metcalf family, father, brother, mother, aunt, uncle, cousin, is this what they want? Do they want a protest? Do they think your protest will help them get justice?
So, no, I have not spoken to anybody in Austin Metcalf's family, and there has been a culture of oppression on white people in America to truly speak how they feel and say, we want, I'm sure in the heart of hearts, Austin Metcalf's father, after being kicked out and embarrassed yesterday in front of the world, he was just there to simply, be a part of the grieving process of his son, see what the murderer and his family and the PR people, he was embarrassed yesterday. He couldn't even be present at something that has affected his life drastically. He was trespassed and removed by the police yesterday, like trash thrown out on the side of the street. And these are the type of topics that have been the white people in America have been pushed out of being able to feel like they can express themselves. That's why Derek Chauvin is in prison right now, because they were so afraid, the judge, of in sparking even a small little ounce of the Black Lives Matter furor and rage on America. And so the white people have been all this type of submissive and held down. And right now we want to come and speak and feel like we can express ourselves and protest and talk about things that are leaving us in terror. And if Austin Metcalf's family is not spoken out on the exact same way I'm speaking right now, it's not because they don't feel that way. It's because they're afraid of the lashback of the black people in America violently looting and rioting across America. That's the only reason. We feel just as bad, and they understand the terror that is happening to our people in this country all around, just as much as I've ingrained and been suppressed deeply from being able to express this. And this is why me coming out of a prison cell as a January 6th political prisoner, I've been through the fire. I've been to the mountaintop, Jason, and I've seen what America could be. Amen? And this is not it. Making America great again starts with one of these fundamental societal issues, and we need to address it and fix it. We can't make America great again on policy. We need to change the spirit, the culture, the love we want shared for each. This is a fundamental thing that's going to make America great again. God and his spirit and bringing unity together, not trade wars with Panama and the BRIC system and all these peripheral issues. We have a poison that it will destroy. America is sick. The antidote is unity through addressing issues with strength and not pussyfooting around these very gravest issues.
I got a final question for you. I'm going to take a brief second to respond to what you're talking about. To me, the solution is alliance through Christ, and that we should be coming together as servants of Jesus Christ. And that's the solution. It's a little concerning for me as it relates to, the Metcalf family, and particularly the dad's reaction is to kind of smear it or say, hey, he doesn't want to do this or that. I'm taking him at his word that he's a true believer and that he's trying to deny himself and follow the instructions that are given in the Bible and given from God of deny yourself and I will deliver justice to you. And so I think his father is leaning into God and trying to let God handle this. Last thing I'll ask you, Jake, and then we got to go, is I'm sympathetic, very sympathetic to your experience January 6th and the show trial and the conviction and just the hardcore left-wing Democrat, black culture, pagan-loving jury pool and just justice system they have in D.C. I've spoken against it. I've paid and I haven't paid a price, but anyway, ostracized and demonized for being on y'all's side. And I didn't wait until January of 2022 to be on the side of January 6 people. I was there day one, day two, I had a column out defending y'all, sympathetic. Only reason I voted is because I wanted January 6 people out of prison. Having said that, I'm aware, I know enough about the prison system and prison culture, which is a reflection of the black culture that the mainstream media has celebrated, the music industry has celebrated, the movie, TV industry has celebrated, sports leagues has celebrated, and it's all a promotion of a prison mentality. And I'm just a little bit concerned if the prison mentality, doing 4 years in prison and being in that very identity and racial idolatrous culture inside a prison if it hasn't shaped or changed your worldview and you're offering prison culture solutions. Let's group up based off race because that's how you survive in prison, and let's group up in the outside world based on race. And I'm 57. I've watched black people for 57 years think that there's these great benefits from racial alliance. And I've watched us destroy ourselves with that mentality. And I'm sitting here begging you and others, why adopt failed tactics? Why repeat the mistakes that too many black Americans have made, thinking the solution is for us to group up based on race rather than to group up under the flag, under the identity of Jesus Christ? That is the solution. Jake, you got the final thoughts on this. I'd like for you to limit your thoughts and your final statement to about 3 minutes because I'm way late and I got to keep it moving. We'll have you on back again. Hopefully, maybe we'll have you on Monday and we can reflect on what happened this past Saturday. But try to do your closing argument here in about 3 minutes. And I want to thank you for the time.
If I'm still alive on Monday, Jason, by God's grace, the solution, the question you're asking, right, is about the weakness that we've tried to remain silent, right? That hasn't worked. We've tried to remain patient. That hasn't worked. We're addressing the issues right now. And that's what we're doing as a community. We're not looking to further divide. We have been divided. We have been suppressed. We are now coming together as white Americans and saying, stop the violence against us. We haven't tried this before. The reason why we're at where we're at right now is because we haven't been strong as a community. We haven't had this messaging saying we're fed up with being attacked because of our skin color. That's what Martin Luther King did, and that's why he was successful. Amen? Do you understand that? The reason why we're in white people living in terror right now in America is because we haven't had people locked arm in arm, walking in peace in the name of Jesus. Like Martin Luther King said, we shall overcome this scourge of violence against our people. We haven't tried it, and I'm here tomorrow in Frisco, Texas to try it, and I'm inviting you. If you want to see tomorrow be peaceful, be filled with Jesus Christ, Holy Spirit. If you're asking who, and God's telling you, who shall I send? Say, send me, Lord. Come and speak, Jason. I'll buy your plane ticket, whatever you need. Come and speak with me. Stand shoulder to shoulder. I'm not going to be expressing racial hatred. I have not done that here today. Come speak with me. Come stand with me. If you want a peaceful event filled with God's Spirit, be there and come speak. And secondly, in the prison culture, talking about, first of all, I never was in a prison with more than 2 or 3 white guys in a unit together. And I was in mostly prisons with over 100 black guys, and I was a singular white man leading Bible studies with 15, 16 people jammed in there, Spanish and young black men, baptized over a dozen black men while I was in prison. I never got even close to the Aryan Brotherhood culture in prison. They didn't exist I was in Brooklyn, New York, Jason. They didn't have that. I wasn't in Texas prison where sometimes those things. So I never felt that. I haven't been changed by that. So, my experiences in prison where I were attacked many times for being white and being singled out. And I had to show a lot of strength and a lot of Christian unity saying, I'm not your enemy here, guys. Come to my Bible study. Don't try to rob me from my ramen soups. Come to my Bible study. I had people rob me from my ramen soups in the morning and came to my Bible study at night, repented. I'm a Christian, Jason. I'm looking for unity, and I'm looking for you to join me and other black leaders that are sick and tired of the people underneath your guys' umbrella attacking white people. It's just very simple. That's what we're just keeping very singular focus. You don't have to take this out of context. The black community should say, hey, we need to stop attacking white people. It's horrible, and we need to condemn it. And Karmelo Anthony needs to be in prison. Very simple. This is a very simple subject, simple solutions, simple prayers. God, protect us, keep us unified, and heal the divide, and heal the hurt that the black people feel in their heart, the brainwashing that they need to perpetrate acts of violence against white people because they have been misled and misinformed by the Democrats and mainstream media, and the education system has told them that our whole entire founding fathers and our country was founded upon hate and racism and evil, and white people are oppressors. That needs to be condemned. We need to tell the real history, real story of founding fathers writing, all men were created equal with inherent rights given to them by their creator. And the people that fought, 500,000 white people died in the Civil War to liberate slavery, black people from this country. That is an honorable thing. Black people should honor white people for eventually turning and saying this ideology, we'll die for it. We will die to get rid of slavery and get rid of oppression. That is what should be lifted up. We should, the Union soldiers in the revolution and the Civil War should be lifted up for this brave act that they took, even against their own race, to say oppression is not worth. They went against their own race to say oppression against any race is disgusting. Why aren't those people lifted up? We need to change the history messages. We need to change the messages and push the goodness that has happened in this country, where the white people have invited in and fought for the rights and lift up the Harvey Milks. I mean, he was, God forbid he's homosexual, but he fought for the rights of black people and stuff like that. These are the people that need to be put on a pedestal and stop trying to, all the race baiting, the division in the classroom, in the mainstream media and stuff. It's their fault Austin Metcalf is dead, and we need to condemn it all and start from scratch. Let's build it back up. We need to get the Sunday morning culture of Black America dressed in their Sunday best, respectful with grandma, mom, and all the kids all going to church together, worshiping the Lord, dressed correctly, acting correctly, doing things correctly, as our culture in America requires from us to live up to a certain standard of excellence. That's what I'm calling for. I'm asking you, Jason, will you join me tomorrow in Frisco, Texas, 11 a.m. at Kai Kendall Stadium at the school where Austin Metcalf is murdered? Can you join me, brother?
It's Easter weekend. I'll be at church on Saturday. Your sheep
falls in a ditch on the Sabbath. It is right to do good on these holy days. To have some nice turkey Easter dinner is nothing. To stand up and stand with me and with this whole entire movement of justice and of unity is something. Jason, on Easter, we should be fighting for freedom and justice and equality and love amongst our brothers instead of sheltering in place and pretending like everything is all right. Am I right about that? Would Jesus be reclined at a dinner table away from where the drama
I want to be
and
at
the
church
sick and the
and
hurting are,
on
or
my
would he be
knees and
where they are?
You know, Jake, thank you. I gotta go. Thank you so much. We'll be monitoring what happens on Saturday. We'll invite you back on the program next week. That was some fireworks. And so the other thing we got to do, Steve Kim, I got to apologize. Wasted your day because there's still stuff I got to unpack here from Dominique Alexander and these guys on the other side. We'll take a pause so I can kind of regroup. I'll kind of recap what just transpired between myself and Jake Lang. And then I want to break down some more of what happened yesterday with the press conference. Email. What do y'all think? fearlessblazeshow@gmail.com. What do y'all think of this? Hop in the chat. We're monitoring the chat. Hop in the comments. What do y'all think? I think I've tried to explain, I think this thing Saturday is a potential problem for the Austin Metcalf family. I think that it could potentially lead to a change of venue. And so I can't get on board with this thing. And I have a lot of respect for what Jake Lang went through as it relates to January 6th, but this is not the way. This dividing up along racial lines and just, it's not the way. The Metcalf family is not asking for it, haven't been consulted. This is a potential major problem we're headed into, and we need to, this ain't about being weak and being a coward. It's about being smart and strategic, and it's about what's your real goals. Maybe you want conflict. Maybe you want a big racial conflict that the news media can run with, and they got Charlottesville 2.0 going again, or they got January 6th going again. Guys, I want to, before we take this little small commercial break, I want to tell you guys about Frontier Magazine, Blaze Media's new Coffee Table Magazine, issue 2 is coming out just around the corner. I got the first issue. I got the second issue. This is an amazing magazine, and you need to be a Blaze Unlimited subscriber. The first 500 subscribers will receive both issue 1 and 2. BlazeUnlimited.com/fearless. Use the promo code BLAZE500 for $40 off your subscription. Don't miss out. Get it right now. When we come back, I'm going to take a little drink, clear my throat. I got some more to say about Dominique Alexander's press conference in the next generation activist Negroes, the next generation ambulance chasers. I got more to say on that. Next. Men, it's time to rise. Our country, our faith, our future, all under attack. I'm bringing the boldest voices to Nashville. Roll Call 3.0 is your call to action. Join me, join Tucker, and let's take a stand together. May 2nd and 3rd in Nashville. I am Jason Whitlock, your host.
Went without so that he could give you an abundant life. Now it's time for you to evade the ego trip so that someone else can live better. Amen.
It's necessary that we decide to become men of character, of godly intent.
He gives power to the saints, and to them that have no might he increases strength. Even you shall faint and be weary. Young men shall only fall. Jason, I know you called it to preach off, but I feel like preaching up in here right about now.
These words are our religion, no regrets in our decisions. We all want to go to heaven with freedom. It's my obligation, no hate, discrimination, raising up your hands for freedom.
So I'm glad, and I didn't know, I'm glad we played that roll call commercial coming out of that conversation, because I'm telling you, too many of you all have relaxed and, hey, Trump's in office, things are going our way. Hey, this culture war, the wind's at our back. And look, we do have a little momentum, but it ain't over. And this racial conflict that people seem to be promoting on the right and the left, these people that want unbiblical solutions, and never in this whole conversation about Austin Metcalf and Karmelo Anthony, you almost never hear these people on either side of this. The both sides group, the white nationalist group, you almost never hear them talk about Christ. They're not pointing to Christ. They're going, look at these guys, they're the bad guys. No, look at these guys, they're the bad guys. And none of them want to submit and say, we have to come together as Christians. We can't come together as black or white. We have to come together as Christians. That's the only solution. And it's, you know, Jake made the argument, and telling you, I'm going to pray for Jake. Jake's been through a lot, and so happy he's out of prison, so happy that I've been able to interview and interact with him twice, have his number. I'm in support of Jake, but I'm not in support of these non-biblical solutions to spiritual problems. And I have to question, like, the strategy, the common sense of what is going on when the Metcalf family is not on board. And as I'm certainly unpacking to you all, the real risk here of a change of venue, because so much chaos is broken out in the Frisco area, and the defense will be able to point, look at these white racists. It's got to be moved out of here. Don't put the roll call thing back up, because that's where I'm landing. And this is where and why we continue to do roll call, because we're trying to call men to stand up. And we don't need to stand up under these false identities. We have an identity given to us by our Maker. We should take that identity as Christian, number one. Then we should apply our American identity. And then we should apply our language identity. That's our identity. All this other stuff is just thrown out there to divide us. And so that's why I'm asking you all to come to roll call so that you can understand the forces against us and get equipped with the right strategies, because they're trying to bait you into these racial identities. And you need to know how to respond. I hope that I demonstrated in that conversation how to respond, but we're going to get into the nitty-gritty and the details. Tucker and I are going to have a conversation on Friday, May 2nd at 3rd and Lindsley that will be amazing. Randy Houser's going to play some great music. Steve Burns is going to crack some jokes. Use the promo code 997, 50% off. All those tickets. Roll call on Saturday. This is just for men. Friday night, men and women bring your gal bring your guy. Saturday night, bring your gal, women bring your guy. But Saturday during the day, it's just for us men. And it's only $100. You use my promo code 997, you get 50% off. It's just $50. We're going to have great music from Damian Horn, Pastor Corey Brooks, Pastor Doug Wilson, myself, E.W. Jackson, Anthony Walker, Alan Jackson, who's got the great church in Murfreesboro, World Outreach. You got to come, because there are people trying to pull us apart, and we have to come together under one nation, under God. FearlessRollCall.com. Let me go back to, and I hope we've already apologized to Steve Kim. You'll get an extra special Christmas gift for me for wasting your Friday afternoon. Didn't know that things would go this long. But I'm going back to Dominique Alexander because I have to. Because I got to fully unpack the insanity of what we saw yesterday. Here's Dominique Alexander saying, I'm not going to smear Austin Metcalf. I'm too classy for that. While smearing Austin Metcalf. Play shot number 7.
And what y'all just showed to Judge Tucker is just reminded that hate and bigotry and racial reconciliation in this country, we have respected the process. I believe that Austin Metcalf is about to have his funeral. And I wouldn't dare, even with the information I know, and plenty people can share that and all that, but we have prevented from speaking about that in these type of public forums. It will come out. They have a more than well-capable attorney, and this family will go through a process of being able to get prepared for this trial.
We is too dignified to smear Austin Metcalf. But boy, if I told you what I know about Austin Metcalf, and that information is available for you all you got to do is ask it. You can put it out, but I'm too dignified to put it out there. This kid was horrible. They got nothing. They blaming it on the rain. And maybe I'll be proved wrong, and their big smoking gun is, he said the N-word. That justifies stabbing somebody? I don't want to live in that world. I don't want to live in that neighborhood. As often, many times I hear the N-word from black people in rap music, everywhere. If that just, the N-word, that just, when black people say the N-word, it doesn't mean that. And so when some black person shoots another black person and says, I smoked that nigga, that was a term of endearment. He called him a nigga because he loved him as he was shooting and killing him. This is insanity. It's got to stop. Dominique went even further, comparing. I can't figure out who he's comparing. He's comparing Karmelo Anthony to Kyle Rittenhouse. Let's listen to shot number 8.
I ask, because these racist bigots try to prevent us from standing up for our baby, our boy, he should be afforded the same rights that Kyle Rittenhouse had, Daniel Penna, and all of the people who have claimed whatever their defense was, he should be afforded the same right. Nobody in the public media has one video camera, but we got the video of Kyle Rittenhouse with an AK-47 shooting 3 people in the back. We got that. And he raised more than $2 million publicly, and nobody says anything.
15, I believe. Fact check me on that. I'm not sure if he shot 3 people in the back. I mean, this man has no command of English or the facts. He killed, shot 3 white people. 2 of them, I think, were pedophiles. 1 or 2 of them were Jewish white people. This is non-analogous, and they're on videotape. One of them hitting him over the head with a skateboard. The other one, I think, clearly trying to grab his gun or even shot at him. Kyle Rittenhouse defended himself, and it's on camera. That's why he got off. This is insanity, trying to compare Karmelo Anthony to Kyle Rittenhouse. And that ain't me caping up for Kyle Rittenhouse. It's just saying this analogy doesn't work. Kyle Rittenhouse didn't pull out an AR-15. Hey, I'm going to shoot people because they asked me to leave Kenosha, Wisconsin. They tried to beat and harm this boy. And two of these people were career criminals that had just recently been let out of prison for pedophilia. And the illogic is just too much. It eats at my soul. It's destroy. This is the clip I've been we'll end the show, I think, discussing this 4-minute clip of Karmelo Anthony's mother talking, and many of you will not like it. How dare I criticize this mother? Don't you know she's in grief and she's in pain? She's in grief and in pain because her son stabbed and killed somebody. You know, the whole, I got social media posts. Don't you see this death threats over social media? I'm supposed to feel more sorry for her than I do the single mothers living in zip codes that are crime-ridden and deal with real anxiety and real fear every time they step out of their house. I've lived in the hood with a single mother. My mother bought a .357 Magnum and carried it and had men try to follow her to our front door. And she done turned around and had to put that .357 on them. And so I'm not speculating here. I lived in the hood, me and my father in a 400 square foot apartment. My father carried a 38 every day. We lived on the first floor, which was in the basement. 1 bedroom, 400 square foot apartment in the hood. Oh, I was so terrified. I got social media posts. They're threatening to kill me and her. My 13-year-old daughter can't sleep. We're in this $500,000, $600,000 home, blah, 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 and my daughter can't sleep. Oh, we are the victims. My son killed somebody and people are angry at me and they're posting negative things on social media. I'm on the cross. Now, the other thing I want to add to this, where they have been living, and I read somewhere where they were thinking about moving, and the math ain't mathing. I want to read you this excerpt from the bond hearing. A website wrote up a story about the bond hearing, where the father claimed he made $72,000 at a car dealership, and the mother said she's a stay-at-home mom. Let me read you this excerpt. The Anthonys have family in Arlington. The dad is a finance manager at a Chevrolet dealership in Frisco, making upwards of $72,000 a year, and is the family's sole breadwinner. Since the incident, Andrew has taken an unpaid leave of absence from work. The children's mother is a stay-at-home mom. As for the family's ability to post a $1 million bond, Andrew said, "No, sir, I can't afford it." They have no significant savings and are living, quote, paycheck to paycheck, he testified. This mother stay at home, father making $72,000 a year, let's upwards of, let's say he's making $90,000. They're living in Frisco, Texas, and based on my friends in Texas, they're living in a very, very nice home, at least worth $500,000. Someone said the mortgage was around $3,500 a month. Y'all do the math on that. The math ain't mathing. And so now that they got to give sin go, there's talk of them moving to another neighborhood where it's more safe. It's even more expense. And they're trying to do it because we deserve this, because we have social media posts harassing us. My 13-year-old daughter can't sleep. And yes, my son stabbed another boy in the heart and killed him, but we need to live in the lap of luxury because we're Karmelo Anthony's parents. Now, the black single mamas that are in the hood, let's don't do a give, sin, go to move them out so they can sleep more comfortably. Let's don't shower them with sympathy because their son hasn't killed a white boy. Now, if their son goes out and kills a white kid, then we'll raise money for them and we'll feel sorry for them. They shouldn't have to live in the Cabrini Green projects. Her son killed a white boy and he's unsafe there. Now, before he killed a white boy, he was perfectly safe in that project where bodies get dropped on a daily. Make it make sense. Make the math math. What are we doing here? As many black kids that get killed in the inner city on a weekly, daily basis. This is the family, and this is the case we must shower all this sympathy and reasonable doubt on. And we must tolerate all of their behavior out of racial idolatry. So for those of you that are sitting there complaining, and look at Jake Lang, and they're doing a white person rally in Frisco, Texas, and look, there go the bad guy. He's the bad guy partially because you're the bad guy. You got the exact same racial idolatry issue as him. You think the solution is, hey, let's rally together along racial lines. That'll fix it. Jake is sitting there. We've never tried racial idolatry as white people. What country has he lived in? What history book has he read? Racial idolatry, white racial idolatry, was in this country from the beginning. And luckily, people with a biblical Christian worldview said, hey, we got to end this racial idolatry. It's tearing apart our country, and it's going to cost us our salvation. But now, hey, we need to circle back to racial idolatry. White racial idolatry. Look how well it's worked for black people. They think there's some sort of unifying quality about skin color. There's no history of this anywhere on the globe. The black people that sold black people into slavery, you think they did that out of black loyalty? Or do you think it was a reflection of a pagan culture? There's just no history of what these people are suggesting as a solution. You look at black people as we've gone further and further and further into racial idolatry, destroyed our families, convinced ourselves that the black woman is the end-all, be-all, and we must all bow to her and her wisdom, that her wisdom is completely detached from God. And God told us in the Bible, that woman needs a man to follow, because if she ain't got no man to follow, she's going to be a hot mess. And there's a group that believes in, well, I don't need a marriage. I need black racial solidarity. And this, again, the disappointment of my conversation with Jake. He said a lot. I gave him a lot of time. I just didn't hear a lot about, hey, man, we got to restore the nuclear family. That's the solution. We got to put men back in leadership positions. That's the solution. Because God's already told us what to do. Racial idolatry is not the solution, whether it's white or black. The racial idolaters on both sides have created this, and the people that refuse to point to Jesus Christ and the cross, they're the problem. And they want to sit online and bicker back and forth. This conservative said this liberal said that, without calling people to the cross and to Christ. They're not talking solutions. They're talking conflict, and they're talking about creating an atmosphere where there's so much conflict, so much chaos, so much violence that they spark a racial war or a racial conflict. And then that they get this trial moved out of Collin or Denton County, someplace where it'll be easier to negotiate a sweetheart plea agreement, where Karmelo Anthony is the victim and he comes home in 2 or 3 years. And I'm somehow the weak person who's saying, no, I want this dude convicted of first-degree murder because that's what this looks like to me. I want him to do some real time. That's not a revenge. I need that kind of justice to reign here in America. That's how you tamp down violence. You tamp it up by telling everybody pick a side based on race, go out here in these streets and parking lots and have a fight and have conflict, let them use that to get to negotiate a sweetheart plea deal, and then you just rinse and repeat. I apologize for seeing through what is happening here and informing you. I know many of you can't wait for the race war, can't wait for the racial idolatry. I know I'm sorry for explaining logically the mistake that you're making. Yeah, I don't like them black people. They're immoral. But man, they got this racial idolatry thing figured out. We need that. That'll fix it. Here's Karmelo's mama nailing herself, her children, and everybody to the cross. She's the real victim here. Kick back, and I think her name is Kayla Hayes. Kick back and enjoy 4 minutes of Kayla Hayes nailing herself to the cross.
Good afternoon. My name is Kayla Hayes. I am the mother of Karmelo Anthony. 3 years ago, my family moved to North Texas searching for a better life. Like so many other families, we wanted to give our children the future we did not have. My husband worked hard every single day to provide for us, to make sure we're in the best financial position possible. As a stay-at-home mom, I made it my life's mission to ensure our children are loved, nurtured, and supported every step of the way. In wake of this tragic incident, our family has been under attack. Whatever you think what happened between Karmelo and the Metcalf boys, my 3 younger children, my husband, and I didn't do anything to deserve to be threatened, harassed, and lied about. The lies and false accusations that have been said about us, especially over the past week, has been overwhelming. The lies and their amplification put my family in danger, as well as everyone in our community, everyone involved in the investigation, from the police, the attorneys, and the court staff. Our address and my husband's previous employer's address has been put on all social media platforms. My husband had to take a leave of absence because he's afraid what may happen to our family. His mental health is deteriorating day by day. We have endured death threats. My 13-year-old daughter is afraid to sleep in her own bedroom because she's fearful of what may happen to her. And let me be clear, the claims that were used about the public donation to buy a home or anything else are completely false. We have not received a single dime from the Give, Send, Go fundraiser. And the co-founder has stated that clearly. In the reality, we were just notified yesterday that we could begin to withdraw funds. And it still takes several days to receive those funds once a request is made. I don't know why we are being targeted and discriminated against before a fair trial. Our son deserves the same rights under the law that everyone is afforded to. He's been raised in a two-parent home with structure, stability, love, and we put God first in everything that we do. We believe in the Constitution, we believe in the laws of this state, but those laws must apply to all of us, not just some of us. To be clear, we will not speak publicly about specific details of what happened under the tent on that rainy and awful day. There's an active investigation that everyone involved wants to be full and fair. We believe in the legal process, and that is where the truth will come out. To the family who experienced the loss, my heart truly goes out to you. To those who have supported my family, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We ask for your continued support, patience, and prayers as we navigate this difficult process. Thank you.
So, this is very clever what they've done here, but it's also obvious. So, 17-year-old boy stabs someone and kills him. Apparently, by all testimony, by the presentation there, he's got a father who's in the home. We just two-parent home. Father never speaks. Let's put the mother out there. She's going to get emotional. She's going to cry. Everybody, black women, leftists, everybody, black men have all been programmed. Black woman's crying, black woman speaking. Trust all women. Be quiet, black woman's talking, blah, blah, blah. Male leadership, black boy who's been discipled by his black father, allegedly. He says nothing. The woman comes out there and she puts on a crying show. And I just want you to understand, if that was Austin Metcalf's mother talking and crying and feeling victimized and making all sorts of expressions about all the terrible things that have happened to her in the aftermath of her son being stabbed and killed, I would get it. I would be more sympathetic. I'm listening to the mother of the killer claim all of this victimhood. And I know there are black mothers this weekend who will be out in the streets crying over their son's dead body. They won't hold a press conference. There won't be a Give, Send, Go to support them and their family or help them move out of the community, because they'll be sitting there, oh, my 17-year-old boy was just killed. He was a member of the Vice Lords, and the gangster disciples killed him, and they may kill someone else in our family because they're so hot with our family. And oh, I got a 13-year-old daughter, she can't sleep. Her older brother just got killed, and she's afraid she may get killed. No one is going to start a Give, Send, Go for that black mother. And it will happen this weekend all over the United States. Our sympathy is supposed to go to this black mother whose son killed somebody. She says in her 3 minutes into her 4-minute statement, 3 minutes and 15 seconds into her 4-minute statement, and we put God first in everything, except for this press conference, except for this 4-minute statement. I waited 3.5 minutes before I brought God into this. And I'm supposed to fall for these tears? And I'm not saying they're fake tears. I'd be crying too if my boy faced life in prison and my boy had embarrassed and disgraced my family by stabbing someone over a verbal dispute. Yes, I'd be embarrassed and I would be crying. But I wouldn't be crying out, I'm the victim. No, you're the accomplice after the fact. And everyone, well, wouldn't you do that for your kid? It's your child. You're supposed to defend your child. And that's where a real daddy's supposed to step up, a real man, a leader, and say, hey, baby, I know your instincts are to defend this boy. But he stabbed and killed somebody, and we have to accept that. And so we got to come out here and plead for mercy, offer apologies and repentance. And so, baby, I'm going to handle this press conference. You're too emotional to handle it. And your instincts are to defend this son of ours who's clearly done something inappropriate. Maybe it's not first-degree murder. Maybe it's second-degree manslaughter or who knows what. But we know our boy was in the wrong. And so I'm not going to come out here and aggressively. Everybody that's against my son, they're racist. No, maybe they're biblical. And you need to be biblical. We put God first in everything. You didn't hear. You can go to Matthew, and God will tell you, in order to be my disciple, you have to be willing to, and he used the word hate, your mama, your daddy, your child, your brother or sister, your grandmama. Those people may become so out of line that you have to distance yourself from them to serve God. That's in the Bible. And so when your child commits murder, as a Christian, boy, you done something horrible here, and you're going to have to suffer the consequences. And we're going to go to the criminal justice system and beg for mercy. And while you do this time, this family, we're going to stick with you. We're going to pray. We're going to come visit you. We're going to hope that the Holy Spirit comes in and intervenes and changes your heart and gets you in alignment with our Lord and Savior. And we're going to beg for this mercy, hopefully reach a plea agreement that's fair, that delivers some justice to the truly aggrieved family, while still leaving you the opportunity for redemption outside these walls. You're 17. We may see you outside these walls again at 35 or 30 or 45, or maybe not till you're 60. Who knows? But we're not going to allow you to be used because some people have come in and written a check and said, hey, this situation with your son, we can help him get out of this, where he only maybe does 2 or 3 years. You can financially benefit from it. We're going to front you some money. We're going to start this GoFundMe or Give, Send, Go campaign that's going to put more money in your pocket. And let me tell you guys, your son does these 2, 3, 4, 5 years. We generate enough money through fundraising and through racial idolatry that when he comes home, you'll be in a better financial position than before he murdered someone. Because I was only making $72,000 a year or $80,000 a year, and I was living in a house that we were paying $3,700 a month in rent or mortgage or whatever. Now, I want you to do the math on that. Mama's a stay-at-home. I think they got 3 kids, maybe 4. Works at a car dealership, making somewhere $70,000, $100,000. They living in a very nice home in Frisco, Texas. Math ain't mathing. Something else is going on here. I don't know what it is, and I'm not even going to try to make you draw a conclusion about what's going on. But the math ain't mathing. And this whole thing, those of you that sit out there that, man, black people are just sending in money right and left and financing all that, I can't buy that fully. Yes, we've been hoodwinked and duped, and there are some. But I smell George Soros, or people that think like George Soros, or these leftist NGOs, these globalists. They have to be involved in some way. And so I'm begging you, don't fall for the okie doke here. The forces that want racial conflict, want black and white conflict, they're working together. Some of them don't even know they're useful idiots. They're just in it for what's in it for them. Hey, if I both sides this issue, I'll get more Twitter followers. I'll get more clicks. Maybe I'll get invited on TV. And there's people on the Jake Lang side of it like, hey, if I lead a protest and spark off some chaos, I'll get more followers. I'll get more clicks. I'll become more important. This is when Jake shared, I haven't talked to anybody in the family. What's in it for me? And so I'm looking at everybody. Hey, there's money in murder. There's clicks in murder. How can I benefit? And once again, I'm telling you, everybody commenting on this, if they're not pointing to Christ, they're pointing to themselves. They're trying to benefit themselves. Because when you point to Christ, they're going to call you a Bible thumper and a Jesus freak, and I just can't relate to that person. All he talks about is a biblical worldview. All he talks about is Jesus is the solution. And, we're not in heaven right now. We got to do things my way. We got to do things that elevate my brand. We can't point to Christ. Got to point to me. More clout, more traction, more TV appearances, more chaos, more conflict. I hope you all stuck with me. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope nothing happens on Saturday. I hope that there is no conflict on Saturday, but I don't feel real good about it. I think Jake Lang is misguided here, and I know these next generation activist Negroes, next generation ambulance chasers, I know what they want. And I know how much they've stirred the pot to get it. And they have black and white people acting in ways to promote racial conflict. Steve Kim, I apologize. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. We'll play tomorrow. We'll see you next week.
Waiting for the count. freedom. Came in like a fighter, striking like a ladder, making all this moves for freedom. I want freedom. No negotiation, my sister, no relation. We all just wanna have freedom. Sitting on a corner, never been alone. I'm breaking my back for freedom. Blessed, we are living, get back. We are receiving, all deceiving. We all wanna be free. We want freedom. I just want, I wanna be. I just want, I wanna be. I just want, I wanna be. I just